way we consume and share news today, it is largely rooted in social media outlets, a reason why it's crucial to look at what's being discussed online. Now, from the hottest issues to trends for our daily social media minute, we're joined by Erica. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
All right. So we've talked about it on the segment before, so I'm assuming most of our listeners are aware of the Busan roundhouse kick incident. There are ripple effects from that very shocking incident, it turns out.
That's right. Well, one of those effects is that college students in Korea are rushing to deactivate their accounts on these apps that match students with tutors. Jung Yoo-jung, she's the 23-year-old suspect in the murder of a woman who was in her 20s in Busan. And this Chung was recently identified as having found her victim through one of these tutor-matching apps. A female student residing in Busan was one of the many people who have expressed their concerns on a online community that is popular among university students. This is what that female student said, quote, "I feel dizzy and disgusted at the thought of Chung having seen my information on the app. I could have been a victim." She added that she has since deleted the app from her phone. Another female college student posted, "I received a message through the app from a middle-aged man before. The man said he didn't need a tutor, but said he would give me money if I met him and talked to him. I closed my account because I was scared." Very creepy indeed.
Absolutely. And that's some murky waters. And I just want to clarify, because there was another incident, I totally confused it and merged two stories. This is the case around Jung Yoo-jung, which led to a murder in Busan after using that tutoring app. Not that other incident. Okay. So the issue that it boils down to with this particular app is that it thoroughly verifies the identities of tutors to prevent any instances of tutors presenting false credentials, for example. So it's about credibility, but it does not verify the identities of students and parents who would be searching on this app on behalf of the students, right?
That's right. So criticism is naturally mounting against this particular app. People are saying that it exposes too much of its tutors' personal information, which make them easy to become a target of crime. Now, to register as a tutor on the app, a person has to submit photos, proof of identification, and a university student ID card. The phone numbers of tutors are also disclosed to members. On the other hand, if somebody wants to sign up to the app as a student or as a parent, they're only required to enter a mobile phone number and just to verify it.
So there's less steps to verify the students and the parents' identities, and that seems to be a problem that led to a deadly murder case. So the app is aware of the issue here, and they've recently come up with urgent countermeasures after Chung was arrested on May 27th.
That's right. Now, this is what the CEO of that app company said in a statement. The app will be revised so that students and parents can send messages to tutors only after checking their personal information. And Chung is suspected of having approached this university student and freelance tutor looking to tutor a middle school student. Chung pretended to be the mother of a student, and she basically disguised herself as a middle school student and visited the victim's home under the guise of taking a class. She is then thought to have allegedly murdered the victim. Now, the Busan Metropolitan Police Agency has disclosed Chung's full name, age, and photo last week. The agency also conducted a test and discovered that her score to test whether she's a psychopath or not exceeded the average score. So in Korea, when a person scores more than 25 out of 40 on a test, the person is considered a psychopath. The average person scores around 15 points.
Okay, so the red flags that couldn't be more obvious and blaring, and I'm sure the app creator is on top of this. I mean, they realize the urgency of the situation too. Eyes are
Mhm.
all on the app to do better, I suppose.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to our second buzzword of the day, the Seoul Queer Parade 2023. It's finally found a home, a place
Mhm.
to set up for this year's festivities.
That's right. So this is basically a follow-up of a previous story that we did on this segment. The annual Seoul Queer Culture Festival parade this year is going to be held on July 1st. It's been fixed, and the parade is going to start in Euljiro in Seoul. Now, the festival, as we talked about before, had struggled to secure a venue because Seoul City refused the organizers' request to use Seoul Plaza.
Now that the venue and the location is set, how
Mhm.
many people are actually expected to participate in the parade this year?
Yeah, so the organizing committee expects more than 50,000 to participate in the parade, the main parade alone, and 150,000 across all festival events. The parade is going to start from Euljiro, but the route is actually going to include Seoul Plaza. Now, according to organizers, Euljiro Iga was chosen to ensure the safety of participants and protect them from potential hatred toward sexual minorities. The organizers also stressed that they are currently in talks with the police to prepare for possible conflict with hostile groups.
Because that initial venue choice, Seoul Plaza, is not too far removed from Euljiro Iga. And of course,
Right.
we talked about who is setting up shop on that same time frame
Mhm.
at the Seoul Plaza. So the Christian organization CTS Cultural Foundation applied for the use of the Seoul Plaza that overlaps with the queer parade this year, June 30th to July 1st. Seoul City accepted the request of the CTS Foundation.
That's right. And what the organizing committee did was they subsequently reported this rally, the parade, to the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency on June 1st, and they succeeded in securing this new venue. Now, in order to report the event before other anti-LGBTQ groups could block it, 64 citizens waited outside police stations on rotation for 89 hours in what they called a rainbow rally. And that's how they were able to secure
Okay.
this particular venue.
All right. So, depending on where you stand on the issue, I'm sure our listeners have a lot of 2 cents to provide. But what I am just hoping for is that, because it does still overlap the time frame at least, is that we could be respectful and it doesn't have to turn violent to wish someone who has a completely different view than yourself. I think that's where democracy can start.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Now, this year's festival, by the way, is going to be held from June 22nd to July 9th. The events include, of course, the main parade and film festivals that will take place both online and offline.
All right, and on to our final story this morning. The Han River. It's crowded over the weekend. There's a lot of people eating, drinking. I mean, there's been a little bit of controversy with too many motorcycles trying to get the food to these campers on time and things like that. But that's not the only dispute. I mean, we're talking about this very public area and people having time of their lives, but having drinks out in the open.
Yeah. Han River Parks, it probably counts as among Seoul citizens' favorite spots
Yeah.
to hang out, regardless of age. You can see couples, families, kids running around, tents, set up. It's a really popular public place. And, about 2 years ago, the Seoul City sort of like played with the idea of banning drinking alcohol along the Han River Parks. And now it seems that Seoul City government will push for an amendment to the ordinance that can designate the Han River as a prohibited drinking zone. Now, the goal is to revise the pre-existing ordinance in accordance with the enforcement of the revised National Health Promotion Act, which allows certain places to be designated as drinking-free zones. However, no need to fear quite yet because the Seoul city government is cautious about designating the Han River as a no drinking area. It's saying that there has to be a public consensus before they reach that final decision on the matter.
I'm glad they're very mindful of what the people want. There's
Yeah,
only
there's going to be a lot of protests, you know that.
exactly there's so many public spaces. There isn't, is my point, where you can leisurely enjoy the outdoors around Seoul City. So to take away a vital part of that experience, I'm not quite sure if Seoul citizens would agree at large. This means that it is highly unlikely that chimek will be banned along the river immediately. The city recently submitted a partial amendment to the ordinance on the creation of a healthy drinking culture to the Seoul Metropolitan Council.
That's right. The ordinance calls for designating existing urban parks and children's playgrounds, as well as pedestrian roads, government buildings, daycare centers, and kindergartens along the river as prohibited areas for drinking. Now, a new provision has also been established to impose a fine of 100,000 won to those who drink alcohol in those designated prohibited areas. Now, if the city council passes the ordinance as originally planned, it's going to be promulgated next month. It's going to take around 12 months after the promulgation for the revised ordinance to come into effect. However, a city government official said that it will not rush to designate this no drinking area. Again, the no drinking area designation in public places will only take place when there is sufficient public consensus.
Can you see how carefully they're treading there?
Yes.
All right. At least they're willing to listen to the public, and I think that's a smart decision. Thank you very much, Erica, for today's talks. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.